Hey, so family. So today I want to give you guys a quick word, uh, kind of driving home the message is something I started talking about on my story during the Leo full moon. And it is revolving around our expression, liberating our expression, creating more safety for ourselves to be in that authentic expression, and really like overcoming monitoring spirits that would try to keep us small and convince us through judgment or yeah, just mind speak that is not coming from God to diminish our own truths. And so really the way that I have been able to do that for my own self and that I want to encourage for others is to really learn to reprogram, realign, reattune the way that you see yourself and the way that you see the world, your lens, to be with the eye of God. Because for so long as you are seeing yourself and others through the eyes of the world, you will have a very hard time A, seeing truth, B, being truth, being liberated in that truth, and C, experiencing the fullness of beauty that life has to offer in its richness and diversity and quirkiness, right? So I'm going to share again the story that I did on my story, if you follow me on Instagram, the other day, and use this as kind of an example to, share some of the wisdom of what I was getting in that experience through our creator. So scene and setting, I'm at the beach. I'm in a bathing suit because I'm at the beach. I am wearing a cowgirl hat. I'm walking the beach. I'm listening to my music. And when I'm outside like that and it's a beautiful day and the sun is out and I'm by the waters and I'm listening to my worship music, like my body, my natural state is to want to celebrate. And I want to celebrate in like a full body worship, like with my song, with my dance, and be in my body, like really just acknowledging like what a gift it is to be a part of this creation alive on the planet at this time, and celebrate with every cell of my body. And so that makes me want to move. And where I'm living currently right now, that's not something you would see. Like, you don't see people dancing on the beach. It's the collective agreement is really like there are unspoken rules about how you perform, how you present, how you dress, how you act, how you be. And if you kind of step outside of those, monitoring spirits that live in other people will project judgment onto you or condemnation, and you feel that, and then you start to question like, oh, is this okay for me to like dress like this, like act like this, dance like this, love like this, even if you're moving from the most innocent, authentic, and benevolent place within you. And so that was something that I was having to overcome on my walk in a number of moments. And I'm going to share some of these examples of like how these monitoring spirits show up, and the opportunities that we have to basically stand in our truth, because we are sourcing permission and seeing ourselves as something holy and as something true and as something innocent and authentic in the eye of God, if we are really connecting to that. And that perception, again, seeing ourselves through the eye of God, is what is going to override the temptation to succumb to that programming that would keep us small. So again, scene and setting, I'm dancing on the beach. I'm in a little cowgirl hat. I see this piece of seaweed and I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks so fun to play with. I'm gonna, whip it around and then like make it like a flow toy, like a flow art, like a rope dart for fire or something. And I'm spinning it around, and I'm innocently just in such a childlike, playful state of feeling my love for creator and creation. And I become aware that I'm being perceived through a lens that is not of God. And the way that happens is I start to notice there's a man filming me. This happens a lot to me on the beach, unfortunately. I don't know if this is an experience collectively for all women, but I've noticed that this has been like a big part of my journey, is like being filmed non-consensually by both men and women, and feeling how violating that feels, and especially feeling how frustrating it is that I know that I'm being sexualized because of pornographic programming that has veiled and shielded the eyes of that man to make them perceive me in this way that is very objectifying. And so I become aware that, oh, you know, this man is now perceiving me as this like sexy cowgirl, like throwing this whip around. And like I can feel that in his field. There's like a sneakiness and like a, yeah, you know, if you've ever watched pornography or been on one of those sites and you looked at the categories, it's all types of shit like that of like, yeah, sexy cowgirl saves a horse and rides a cowboy. And there's these fantasies that people project onto us as women and onto our bodies, even if we are not asking for that, not standing in that, right? And so in that moment, I actually felt my body flood with fear. And I was like, oh, I should stop. I should, you know, take off my hat, put this thing down, stop moving, stop dancing, stop being in my body, and just like quietly move along, stop drawing attention to myself. But my spirit was like, girl, no, I want to pray like this right now. Like, this is my authentic expression. I'm not going to let this creepy, balding, big gutted man right now and his programming stop me from dancing. That's literally feminine oppression in action. And so I reframed my perception of him as being this creepy, gross man, as this man who was genuinely so inspired by my beauty that he wanted to capture it. And affirmed myself that I'm safe to be in my body just because this person is wanting my beauty and wanting my energy right now. Like, he doesn't get to have it, even if he's able to get a video on his phone, right? And often I will say, like, as a side note, I will walk up to these men and I will say, excuse me, were you filming me? And without consent of my body, I really don't want my body like this on somebody's phone that I don't know. Will you please go into your photos and delete it? And sometimes men will freak the fuck out and come at you. But that's something that I've been guided to do, just so they know, like, I see you. Hey, like, I see you. And I'm your sister. I could be your daughter. You know? What is this? And so that often, though, it will, like, I remember doing that to a man who was jacking off to me by the river in Nevada City a couple years ago. And I, you know, everyone was like, just leave. This guy's dangerous. And I was like, fuck no. And I grabbed my phone and I snuck up on him and caught him. And I caught him. And I was like, dude, no. This is the last time you will ever do this to another woman. Unfortunately, I don't think it was the last time that he did it, but I captured him and I said, I'm going to put you on the internet and people are going to see your face and they're going to know you and you're going to be held accountable for this behavior. This is not okay. And so, again, like, I didn't shy away. I didn't collapse. I didn't cover my body. I didn't leave the beach because I felt unsafe. That's what these monitoring spirits want. They want you to feel their judgment, their fear, their sickness, and make it your own. But we have to stand in our truth and our power, especially when we know we're being it in a good way. And it's keeping our vibration high. I'm raising my vibration. I'm raising the collective frequency of that beach. And then this energy that doesn't want that tries to come in and it tries to take it. But it's like, you don't get to have this. I'm on God. I'm protected by God. I'm dressed by the Spirit. I am filled by God. And in that way, I'm showing up in a good way with my energy. You are weak. You are weak in the spirit. You're not a vibrational match to even come anywhere near me. And again, the second that I see that predator energy and I'm like, no. It usually just slithers away. Like, it's scared. It's ashamed. It's very small. It's weak, right? So I tangented a bit and I'm going to get back to this walk because there's more examples of like how these monitoring spirits arise. But I guess I was meant to share that. And maybe that's a word for somebody, an inspiration for how we can be advocates for ourselves, being in our bodies as women and not having it be so taboo, not having ourselves sexualized. And, you know, there's also things that we do in our daily life. Like, if I'm in the habit of sourcing energy sexually from men, and then when a man responds to that and I get angry because I don't want it from him, but I want it from this other man, that's also something for us to look at the feminine of like, if we're going to be in that frequency, transactionally sourcing from men with our sexual energy, like, we're more likely to have interactions like that with men who are going to be perverted with us. And that's just been my experience. And the more that I've come out of that, the less of those types of things that have happened. And even, you know, even if men try to project that onto me, like, they're quickly, I can tell, like, when I come they try to come at me with this energy, and then I'm like, no, I'm not a sexual object, I'm a holy woman. It like collapses it for them immediately, which is amazing, and how I create safety for myself through my frequency. So I keep going. After I'm being filmed by this man, I'm just like, Lord, I didn't have it in me in that moment to like, I just didn't want to break my joy, break my frequency. He didn't get to have my energy anymore than he already was. And I could tell that I was bringing him actually joy. He was, I felt on some level, witnessing me in my beauty and my dance, and it was exciting for him. And it's like, okay, I keep going. And then I see a woman walking with her partner, and she starts getting really stressed out seeing me because I'm, again, beautiful woman in my body, in my bathing suit, I'm dancing. And I could just tell that it was threatening for her, and she didn't want her partner to look at me, and she was kind of guiding his attention away. And I had to have a self-check-in here and be like, okay, you know, the last self-check-in was like, am I safe? Like, do I need to say something? Like, no, I stayed in my joy. This check-in was like, is this appropriate? Like, am I being disrespectful to her relationship by being in my body like this? Like, am I, you know, and I checked in and I was asking myself honestly, like, am I trying to get attention or energy from this man? Absolutely not. Like, I would love for them both not to look at me. That's okay. If she wants to take his energy and keep it over there, like, I'm not doing this for anybody. This is for me right now, to be in my light, in my body, in my prayer. And so, yeah, I overcame that feeling of like, I could tell her gaze was like, kind of, it was like shameful, like, shame on you. You shouldn't be looking like this, acting like this. Like, there's families, there's children. And I'm like, is what I'm doing inappropriate? Like, no, it's not. Is me being in my body wrong? No, it's not. Is me being in my pleasure wrong? No, it's her own insecurity. It's her own fear. It's her own desire of how badly she wants to be liberated in her expression and in her body. Just like it was that man's desire probably to see women liberated and to see me in that, and that was exciting for him. And so I was like, I'm gonna continue to liberate this woman and be standing in my truth bravely, you know. Then I go and I walk past a group of children, and I have a check-in of like, oh no, is this like setting a bad example for the children, right? So I keep going, and I see them like smiling, and the girls are like, oh my gosh, that looks so fun. Like, I was just playing with this thing like a little flow toy, you know, and I could tell that they were getting inspired to interact with the nature around them in this playful and creative way. And so that was beautiful, to feel the eye of God coming through these children and seeing me and my innocence and my playfulness, because that's how they're operating. So they were able to see me as a mirror of that, you know? And again, just navigating all these different lenses of perception and all these different monitoring spirits and how they're seeing me. And again, just always rerouting back to like permission from God. Like, do I have permission to do this right now? Do I have permission to move like this, act like this, be like this, look like this, love like this? And if God is saying, yeah, my Holy Spirit just kept saying, yes, Shakina, you stay in your dance, you stay in your prayer. This is for liberation. And then it's in these ways, you know, there's really obvious examples of feminine oppression where women have to scarf their face. And if they take that scarf off their face, they're either going to get raped or beaten to death or killed, punished severely. And then there's these like micro oppressions that happen at large. And that's, you know, being a privileged white woman living in an affluent area, more of what I'm dealing with, and more of what I dealt with growing up in my home, with these, again, collective agreements about how a woman should behave, how a woman should act, what is and is not okay. And I think I've really achieved like a really beautiful balanced place with this, because when you're that oppressed, you have to get kind of extreme in your expression to like break out of it. And then I think you kind of oscillate back into this beautiful middle ground that I find myself in now, where I feel comfortable being in my voice. I also feel comfortable being in my silence. I feel comfortable being in my body and in my sexuality. I also feel comfortable being in my hiding away and my keeping quiet and keeping private. And so just finding like, what is this moment asking, and not what are people around me asking in this moment? What is the world asking? Like, what is my body needing? What is my system needing? And if what I am needing is not bringing harm or foul play, or not that it's not making people uncomfortable, that's a different thing. But that if it's genuinely bringing harm to another person, that's a boundary for me of like, okay, this expression in me is not necessary, because this is not, you know, mindful of the nervous systems around you, but also not letting them dictate, not letting a person's inability to self-regulate or be comfortable dictate how you're going to show up, especially if it's in a good way for you. or just a natural way that God is guiding you to be in, because that's you being in your authentic truth and expression. And you don't know how many people you're liberating when you're being in that, especially the people that think they don't want you to be in that, because you're touching into their own feelings of oppression and desire to be that, but inability maybe yet in themselves to be that. So we keep walking. I'm gonna bring it back. There's a group of teenagers now, and I can feel their like mockery, the monitoring spirit of mockery watching me dance. And I'm like, should I just stop dancing now? Like, these kids are about to just like, I could just feel they were gonna drive into me, and they did. They were like, what the fuck, like pointing, also started filming me laughing, like maybe I'm a meme on the internet after that day, I don't really know. But it was just like, what is this bitch doing? Like, what a fucking weirdo. Like, oh my God. And again, I'm just like holding the frequency and also sending the prayer of like, you're allowed to be a goof, you're allowed to be a weirdo, you're allowed to be a freak. Like, really all the best ones are, like, you're not that cool. And whether they felt that or not, like, they did not interrupt me and my truth, me and my expression, me and my authenticity. And I can just feel the frequency, the ripple effect of that, how that touches into the grid is really quite powerful, more powerful. And especially by the waters, I could feel that me being in my freedom, me being in my voice, dancing for the women that really cannot dance. People think here they can't dance because of their own restrictions. There are places where that is not allowed. For you to be in your song, in your expression, for you to be in your body. Like, these are privileges that we have, and I am gonna fucking enjoy them, because I know there are women who cannot. I know there were women in my lineage who could not, ancestors who could not, versions of me in the past who could not. And now that I have remembered that I'm sovereign and that I have this privilege and that I have this opportunity in this life to be all that I am, I'm gonna do that, because I know how many people fought for their life so that I could live this one. And I'm not going to play small so that you can stay comfortable. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to play small to avoid judgment. I'm not going to play small because part of me feels like this person's going to try and possess me and take my energy. I'm not going to play small. And I think that's a really important initiation, especially for any of us who are rising up in our leadership and our expression and going to be, hopefully heard by more and more people as we continue to come into our truth and share this good word, this wisdom that we're living. You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with triggering people, with making them uncomfortable, and feeling that discomfort within yourself. Because in each one of those examples, with that old man, with that woman, with the children, and with the teens, I felt yucky, and I had to move through that influence of this monitoring spirit trying to convince me, the convincing spirit, right, of like, stop, this is bad, this is wrong, this is gross, this is this, you're asking for attention, you're this, you're that. And then me just being so connected to my truth, like, no, I'm not, I know I'm doing this, and if you know why you're doing something, another person's perception of why you're doing that thing becomes irrelevant. And that's how you can live liberated and standing in your truth, literally no matter what people try to project onto you. You get that permission for God. You see yourself through that eye of God. You know what the fuck you're up to? It literally does not matter what anybody says or thinks about you after that, at that point. And so may this be a word for somebody to unabashedly, unashamedly, full-throttedly embrace your unique being, your unique expression, and come into that and remember that you are safe, you are held by God in that, especially when it is like for your prayer, for your life, for more life. And that you are innocent, that you are pure, you are authentic, you are good. And if you do check in with yourself and you're tracking, oh no, I am doing this for attention, I am doing this to steal this person's energy, like, how is that feeling for me actually? Like, that's feeding a lack of inner wholeness. Like, I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna bring my energy back in, and like I'm gonna connect in with that part of me that's like actually wanting my own love, and then I'm gonna revisit how I want to express myself in this moment. Am I reaching out? Am I trying to take energy, or am I really giving love, giving energy here to myself and to others and to creation? And so nothing wrong actually with either. Like, again, seeing that version of the self that is like, oh, I want love, I want this, I want that, I want attention. And if you are being in that way, like, have compassion for that version of yourself. And again, for your own self, be like, is this the wolf in me that I really want to feed right now? Because the more we feed that wolf, the bigger it gets, the stronger it gets, the more validation it needs, the more vanity it starts to source from. And so really just being mindful and aware of that, of like, is this the right balance for my energy right now? And yeah, be free, babies. May this keep you even more free. Yeah, love you.